Fantastics? It's Mr. Clintastik back with my Murders at Karlov Manor set review for Magic the Gathering. Man, I'm hype. I'm hype. I'm excited about a lot of the spells I've seen. I'm excited to see them at play. And yeah, I've gone over all the colors so far. Still working on those videos to break them up into digestible bites. We've gone over all the monocolored, we've gone over all the multicolored, and today we'll be wrapping up with the artifacts and the land cycle. This is a limited set review focused on draft and sealed cards, and I will be making my rankings based on a 0 to 5 point scale. So yeah, I'm going to get started, and honestly, if I have time, I'm gonna jam a quick draft at the end of the video. So let's get started. First off, we have Cryptex, 2 mana artifact, rare. You can tap it, collect evidence 3, add 1 mana of any color, put an unlock counter on Cryptex, sacrifice Cryptex, surveil 3, draw 3 cards, activate only if Cryptex has 5 or more unlock counters on it. For 2, collect evidence 3, add a mana of any color. I'm I'm just not a fan of collect evidence. I think it has decent ceilings sometimes, but those ceilings are still mediocre. They're only decent. It's probably the worst mechanic in my opinion. Now, and this isn't gonna necessarily help you win the game. I'm gonna put this at a 1, even though it's rare, and I'm sure somebody's gonna run it, but it's not gonna necessarily win them the game. Next, we have Lumbering Laundry. 5 mana. I do not like 5 mana. Let's see here. 5 mana artifact creature golem. Uncommon. Pay 2 until end of turn. You may look at face down creatures you don't control at any time. I like that. I like that now. Not at 5 mana, but I do like that. Let me get a peek of what's going on. Oh, that's what you got. I like that. And you can disguise for 5. It's a 5 mana 4/5. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put this like 1.5. This is still over cost even, and you still have to sink more mana into it to make it work. No, I'm gonna put it at 1.5. I'm probably never gonna actually play this in limited, unless the community like, hey, draft this card. Now that's something I want to do too. Like, have community picks. Like, hey, if y'all see a certain card y'all want to see at work, I'll try it. But this is not that great to me, even though I love the ability. Next, we have Magnetic Snuffler, 5 mana. Again, with the 5 mana. When it ETBs, return target equipment from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to Magnetic Shuffler. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact, you may put a 1/1 counter on Magnetic Snuffler, not Shuffler. It's 4/4. 5 mana 4/4 that re-equips itself, and then when you sacrifice your clue tokens or whatnot, you get a counter on it. I still feel it's overcost. I'm gonna put it at 1.5. I think you can play it. One of these in your build is not gonna make you like just lose the game, but I don't see this being like that blowout card to help you win the game either. So I'm gonna put it at 1.5. These 5 mana cards, unless they're just like, if this was a 5 mana 5/5, I'd probably put it at 2, because it'll be like that. Okay, baseline, like even this 5 mana 5/5. I'm like, at the very least, have that. Despite your ability, have those base stat lines for me. Next, we have Gravestone Strider, 2 mana artifact creature golem. You can pay 1, add 1 mana of any color, activate only once each turn, pay 2, exile Gravestone Strider from your graveyard, exile target card from a graveyard. It's a 1/3. 2 mana 1/3 that can pay 1, add a mana of any color. This is what you want in your. Say, if you draft Niv, for instance, this is what you want to help you kind of fix and get those colors you need, but it's gonna be expensive. I'm gonna put this at a 1.5. This is pretty underwhelming to me. Um, it might really be a 2 due to the mana cost and whatnot. It has some utility even when it goes to the graveyard, but for me, it's just under exciting. I think as I've seen more cards in the set, some of the just underwhelming cards are falling further to the bottom. Next, we have Thinking Cap, 1 mana artifact equipment. Equip creature gets +1/+2, equip detective 1, and equip 3. Man, just a one. I'll rate that at a one. That's not exciting at all. Sanitation automation, 2 mana artifact creature construct common. When ATB surveil one, it's a 2/1. Okay, I mean, I'll put this at a 2. It's not overly exciting by any means, but it comes to battlefield. You get to look at top card of your library, put it in the yard, um, or keep it on top. So I think this is totally playable, baseline, decent stats. I'd put this at a 2. You might run a couple of these just to get some early game creatures to the board with some utility. Next, we have magnifying glass. Mm. Yo, yo. That's what's up, Plague. Give me a second. Yo, yo. How you doing, Samaj? Hello, classroom. Oh, man, that's cool. All right. Next, we have magnifying glass. 3 mana. Tap, add a colorless, and you can pay for it. Investigate. I think this is decent. I really do. One of these in your deck isn't going to be bad. It's going to help you ramp, get to these 5 drops that you want to play, if you ever want to play them, you know. And late game, you can pay for investigate, generate clue tokens, which are artifacts needed for certain cards. I kind of want to put this like a 2.25. Like a bunch of these, like two, three, four of these isn't going to help you just dominate a game. Two of these may help in a lot of situations, but still, I think you need well more than this to win the game. I'm gonna put this at like a 2.25, and if I start seeing them a lot, I'm gonna be like, okay, cool, that's a higher pick, and I'll put it probably like a 2.5 or a 3. Next, we have Case of the Shattered Pact. When this case enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. To solve, there are five colors among permanents you control. Okay. And then solved at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains flying, double strike, and vigilance until end of turn. So this is another one of those cards you want to have for your Niv build if you want to go 5 colors. We talked about Niv yesterday, 5 colors. Um, just on the surface, I'm happy with it. I think it's a easy 2.5. Once again, it's not something that just helps you get to the finish line. It's more of a support utility card. But if you happen to be trying to do that 5 color nonsense, and I hope this isn't one of those situations. I hope this isn't one of those sets where it's like, man, I can't get any wins. What's going on? Oh, you just got to play all the good things. And from what I saw in the multicolored section yesterday, this might be what this is. Like, yikes. This might be multicolor. This might be a multicolored set because a lot of those multicolored cards are really good. Like just so like they really surpass the monocolored cards. Like surpass them. So I could see. We're about to go over the lands now. If these lands are landing, and I'm gonna give this a 2.5. I think this card is solid. I'd probably run 2, 3, and if 5 color nonsense is a thing, I run 4 of them. I run as many of these as I can, and it's uncommon, so we'll have to see. And from the initial look of it, the lands are landing. They come in tapped, but we're gonna have pretty much every. Lord, we're gonna have everything. Okay, cool. So we have meticulous archive. It's a plain island ETB surveil. So we have a surveil sweep in white blue, undercity sewers in blue black, raucous theater in red black, commercial district in red green, lush portico in green white. Do all of these they all surveil? Okay, great. Awesome. Shadowy backstreet in black white, Thundering Falls in blue red, Underground Mortuary in green black, Elegant Parlor in red white, Hedge Maze in green blue. Then we have our colorless lands. They come in tapped as well. Scene of the Crime taps for a colorless. Tap an untapped creature you control, add 1 mana of any color, or tap it, pay to sacrifice it, draw a card. I like that a lot. A land that draws you a card for 2 and can color fix. Okay, this isn't bad to me. I, I really like cards that's going to help me win the game. This is more support utility. I got to keep it at like a 2.5, but I think it's really solid. Um, all of these, before I even move on, all of these multicolors, it's really gonna, the utility of them is gonna depend on your build. So it's gonna be hard to rank them. Now they all surveil. I'll put them at a 2 instantly, But even that still, a blue black card in a red white deck does nothing. So it's really what you're looking for as you're trying to expand into more colors. The scale on these cards go up. If you know you're trying to go for a 5 color deck, we'll start with that. If you know you're going for a 5 color deck, these are priority cards. Your lands, these rare lands, are they all rare? Yeah, they're priority, which will put them instantly at like a 4 at least. But if you know you're trying to go monocolored or whatnot, which from the looks of it, that would just be a terrible idea. You're gonna miss out on so many great spells. Um, these these would be useless. So from my initial impression, from what I'm seeing, and my prediction that this is gonna be a heavy multicolored format with colors flying everywhere, I'm leaning towards ranking these at least at 3.5. And if I'm right, they're instant fours. And if the format allows and multicolor is a thing, like 3, 4, and 5 colors, they're probably fives. Like they surveil for you and everything too. Like that's solid. That's really good. And I don't think, do these count as basic lands? Like if these are tutorable by things, they go up even higher. So I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but these, I think these are going to be really good. And so based off my prediction, I'm going to say 3.5s off rip for all those multicolored lands. Okay, did I miss? Did I skip something? Went over all those. Yeah, I did skip something. I skipped Branch of Vitugazi, colorless land, gives you a colorless mana. You can disguise it for 3. Oh man, okay. When it's turn face up, add 2 mana of any one color until end of turn. You don't lose his mana as steps and phases end. That's exciting. Yes, I will play that. My The fact that my lands can become creatures is solving, to a degree, solving one half of the issue with lands. So in Magic the Gathering, you want to have the right amount of lands, but you don't want to have too many lands. You don't want to have too few lands. So a friend posted on Facebook the other day, like, what would you do if you could add anything to Magic? And I suggested a way to, like, maybe, discard 2 cards from your hand, tutor up a basic land or something so that, you're not always just hurt, for a certain color or hurt for the land you need. This isn't that. This handles the other side of the equation when you are flooding out. So cloak and abilities like this that allows your lands to become creatures is like, oh, this land is something I can use. I think um, the double face cards that do that are really good to help. Like, okay, cool, it's a creature on one side or a spell on one side and it's a land. And I think something like this would be really good going forward too. A land that can be a creature that flips up. That's really dope to me. I'm giving this a 3.5 as well. Next we have Public Thoroughfare, colorless land, ETB's tapped. when an ETB sacrifice it, unless you tap an untap artifact or land you control, you can add a mana of any color. Uh, uh, this is it. It's something to it gives you a mana any color. So in your 5 color decks, this is delicious. But the fact that you have to sack a land or a artifact, and in most cases you're gonna want to sack an artifact, is so conditional. It might contribute to you considering like missing a land drop. So I'm gonna put this at like a 2. I think it could go up depending on how many artifacts we get, but I think it's gonna be too reliant on you having that artifact, or you have to set yourself back a land. That's not that cool. And finally, we have Escape Tunnel, Colorless Land. You can sacrifice it, search your library for a basic land card, put onto the battlefield, tap, shuffle, or you can sacrifice it, target creature with power 2 or less, can't be blocked this turn. I'm gonna give this a 3.5 as well. I think this is gonna be a heavy multicolor set. You get, you could run 3, 4 of these guys, these lands, and be happy. And it helps you get unblockable. That's really cool. That's super dope. And there's cards in green, for instance, that bring lands back from the graveyard. So you jam that, it takes some of those enchantments back. For instance, it's the mythic of the set, I believe. Something like Undergrowth Recon. Yeah, you can just start getting all those lands out of your build. Now, is that what you want to be doing to win the game, man? But if you happen to do it, I think that's awesome. So that is the full set review for Murders at Karlov Manor. And so far, I still stand on business when I say I think white is the best mono-colored set. I think it just has a lot of things going on for it, as far as graveyard manipulation, drawing cards, board wipe. Black has a board wipe too. I think that's just great to have. I think blue is going to be really fun. A lot of things going on there. Like this Cryptic Coat. Still probably my favorite card I've seen. One of my favorites. As far as just how good is this going to be? When the ETBs cloak the top card of your library, then attach Cryptic Coat to it. And as I mentioned, that card could be a land. And you make your land a 2/2 creature with ward. That's really solid. Crypt creature gets 1/0 and can't be blocked too. That makes it even better. That makes it even better. Can't be blocked. What? You pay 2 and you can do it again. This is one of the standout cards to me. One of them. I think this is really good. And there's another in blue that I'm just like, by itself, it's really just really good. I think it was a Case of the Filch Falcon. Gives you an investigate ability. It's uncommon. Say you have 3 of these, they trigger themselves, and you have all of a sudden you have 3/4/4 birds, or you have one freaking 12/12 bird because of this one drop. So that's what I'm getting at. I think blue has some just like some blowout spells in my opinion. Just like, oh man, I gotta see that at work. I think that's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna try it. But I think as far as just having like solid common cards, white is there. I still think the standout card in white is this 2-drop here. That whenever a creature 2 or less ETBs, it gets flying. What? What? A 2-mana 2/2? You slam this. You slam another one, it flies. Go slam another one, it flies. I can imagine myself just having a bunch of these. And people being upset. But I think also, as far as consistency goes, red has a lot to offer. That's why I'm ranking like white first. As far as monocolored, I think white is the best monocolor. That's your base, and I'm even getting into that when I talk about multicolored. But I think red is really solid too. It has haste creatures. It has draw power. It has invest. It just has so much going on. What was the? Let me think. What was like the premier card for me? I don't think anything really like just stood out. They had a goblin that was really good. I do believe. like a 3 drop goblin. But otherwise, it just had like some great hasty boys. Yeah, this goblin generator here is good. This pyrotechnic performer is really solid. Whenever you flip a creature over, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. Think somebody's not gonna get blasted out by that. Fugitive Codebreaker prowess and haste. When it's turn face up, discard your hand, draw 3 cards like Phoenix that can come back to your hand by collecting evidence. So there's just a lot of solid spells in red. Let me get back down here. But hindsight, maybe blue is better. Hindsight, maybe blue is better based off of me just liking the color. But I definitely feel like white has the most consistency. Black has some good things too. All the colors have solid things, but I think green like probably ranks probably ranks a little higher than black for me. I think black and green are kind of like tied. No, I like black more because black has that board wipe. So I think it's going to be for me white, blue, red, black, green, and as I play through the season, I'm gonna see how things go. But then that really brings me down to the multicolored. Personally, I feel the strongest multicolored card by hands down by itself is this Agris Cost Spirit of Justice. Double strike vigilant, it gives something menace or it exiles or something. Like this is pretty dope. When it ETBs or attacks, choose up to one target creature. If it's suspected, exile it. What? Otherwise, suspected. What? So I think that is single handedly like the best multicolored card. But I think white black probably has the most solid cards in the multicolored section, having like Kaya and a couple of white black flyers that do a thing or two. Or Death Touchy Boys. Followed by White Blue. I think White Blue had a really solid spell in this Isrim Agency Chief. 5 mana flyer. But it investigates twice and you can sacrifice an artifact to gain vigilant, lifelink, or hexproof. I think that's gonna blow somebody out of the water. Red blue doesn't look that strong. Green blue has his Vanifar. I think some people can make something shake with it at the beginning of combat on your turn. Cloak a card from your hand, or put a 1/1 counter on each colorless spell you control. If you get into a disguised deck, Vanifar is going to be solid. Green blue will have a little something, but other than that, I honestly think green white is going to stand above green blue with something like Tristani, 3 Whispers, giving things Death Touch, Vigilance, or Double Strike, as well as Tolsamir being a 5 mana 3/2 with lifelink that also brings out a 5/5 green and white wolf token with trample. And whenever a wolf attacks one you control, target creature and opponent control blocks that wolf, so it kind of be like repeatable removal. That's really dope. So yeah, I think blue black has some really fun looking cards like Drag the Canal. Blue black create a 2/2 blue white blue detective creature token. If a creature died this turn, you gain 2 life, surveil 2, then investigate. Yeah. And then green black. I just don't think I'm a green black player. Um I think green always kind of ranks low for me because the way green interacts is often fight spells, and I'm not often wanting to do that. I have to have a really specific condition for me to want to for me to want to fight creatures in most situations. Is Doppelgang? I believe that's the one that copied the creatures. I think that's dope, but for limited, it's too expensive. For limited, it's way too expensive. Now, if somebody is able to pull it off, I'm gonna applaud them. But I think in most cases, I'm gonna beat this card. And I think that's how I'm starting to see my ratings too. If I look at a card and I'm like, I don't think in most situations I'm gonna just absolutely lose to this card. I think it loses a little bit of value to me. Now in constructed, I think people are gonna be able to make some things shake with it. But otherwise, I think it's just enticing, and it's gonna occupy a pick. That's gonna occupy a hand. That's gonna contribute to more game losses than wins in limited. Ooh, I gotta go talk about my boy up here in red green. Now, red green didn't show me a lot of impressive things, but I gotta give props to Ansrog, the Quake mode being a 4 mana red green that whenever it becomes blocked, untap each creature you control after this combat phase. There's an additional combat phase. What? And then you can pay 7. It must be blocked each combat this turn if able. It's a 8/4. This is a 8/4. So the way I see this, if you somehow, if the board is clear, you just top deck this, you slam this down. They have to deal with it. They have to deal with it. It's 8 freaking mana. And being in red green, there's first strike and trample buffs going on. So if I'm playing this, I'm definitely running my first strikes support spells. I'm definitely running my trample support spells. This would be something that would make me really want to play red green in limited. Hmm. So yeah, that kind of wraps up the whole set. Talked about the split cards. Split cards are cool. I think the lands are cool having surveil. It's not cool they come in tap. That kind of blows, but that's what you pay for. They got some dope looking lands. And I guess overall I could talk about the flavor of the set. I don't like the collect evidence mechanic, but I do like the flavor of it. You're going in the graveyard or rummaging around, finding things to utilize against the opponent. I get it. I think my favorite is still Cloak. At first, I was a little irritated by Cloak. You might see that in the videos. It's like, why do they have that when they also have Disguise? But the fact that Cloak can cloak instants and sorceries, lands, like anything, and make them 2/2 ward creatures, ward 2 creatures, I think that's really cool. So I think for my rankings, I have, when I can't forget Suspect, I think it's Cloak. And as far as like attack purpose, I think Suspect has to go right under Cloak. I think Suspect is better than Disguise. So it's Cloak, Suspect, Disguise, Collect Evidence for me. Let me know what y'all think about the mechanics of the set. I probably missed one. Oh, Investigate. Can't forget Investigate. Investigate is over. Is definitely over collect evidence for me because it just draws you the card. It generates a token for you, gets you a permanent on the board. So for me, I believe it's Cloak, Suspect, Disguise, um, Investigate, and then collect evidence. So yeah, I'm gonna take a break for a quick bit, and then I'll be back probably to do a quick draft. If you enjoy my content, please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to help the channel grow. It's been great to finally be able to do a set review. It's been a long time since I've jammed one in. This was very, very fun, and I'm hoping that it helps people out there, in the community, and I'm hoping to help myself prepare for this set release. So yeah, if you enjoy my content, please be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and share. And as always, you guys are fantastic. My name is Mr. Clintastik. I'll see you guys next time.